evening, Johnson students. This is our final persuasive speech of the semester, and at this very hour, I realize that most of you are right now, as I speak, watching the season premiere of The Walking Dead, which is exactly what you should be doing. But when you're done with that, I hope you tune into this speech because I've got some very important news that I want to share with you. You see, I want to share with you this evening how to prepare for the zombie apocalypse. Now, I know what you're thinking. It's not real. Listen, it can happen. It can actually happen. There is scientific facts that I'm going to show to back this up, that we need to be prepared for a real zombie apocalypse. So first, the question how. I will answer the question how, and then what will you need to survive? And I will answer that question as well. And then I will talk about where is the best place to build your new community and start life anew in this world after the zombies have taken over. First, how could this possibly happen? I know what you're thinking, it's all in the movies and Hollywood just made this thing up, but there are some real things out there that could cause something like a zombie apocalypse. Let me explain. The first one, and probably to me the most frightening one, is something called Toxoplasma gondii. It sounds like a person in India. It's not. It's a real virus. It's a brain virus. And what this is a virus that can only breed in the intestines of cats. So here's the weird thing. How does this virus get itself into the cat's intestines? It does so by infecting the brain of a rat. And then it manipulates that rat's brain, and it causes that rat to follow the scent of cat urine and put itself in harm's way and allow itself to be eaten by the cat. So then the virus can breed in the intestines of the rat. It causes the rat to behave outside of its normal behavior. It causes the rat's fear to just be subsided and put itself in harm's way. Well, how could this cause a zombie apocalypse? Well, a variant mutation of such a disease or such a virus as this could easily cause people to act irrationally. And we already have cases where this disease has mutated into humanity. It's out there and it's real. It causes no rational thought. It causes poor muscle control. And it causes them to be hungry, ravaging ignoramuses. That's real. You can look it up yourself. The second possibility that I propose could cause a zombie apocalypse is super mad cow disease. Now, we've already seen on Oprah the regular mad cow, and we know that mad cow disease affects the cerebral cortex. And we would think that this would be a fairy tale, except for there's this case called I'll try to pronounce it, the Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease. What this is a mad cow variant that infects people. What happens to a person that gets infected with this super mad cow is it causes twitching and convulsing and poor muscle control. It causes the victim of this disease to begin biting themselves. And if anyone gets close enough to them, they will bite that person. If such a variant of this were to become widespread, it could be airborne. It could be spread by food. It could be spread by a simple handshake. Such a disease like this, mutating itself into a readily spreadable disease, could easily wipe out America and the world we know in no time at all. Am I all right still?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I just heard a beep. I wanted to make sure I was still being recorded. Another possibility is nanobots. Now, this is another situation. This is where humanity is going to probably create a technology that will ruin himself. These nanobots have the ability of being injected into the brain, and they can reproduce themselves, and they can rewire the brain and take control of bodily muscles. Now, if these are done with an evil purpose, just imagine the kind of devastation that can come as a result. Poisons, various poisons, biological poisons, already in Haiti, some of the voodoo people. In fact, the word zombie itself comes from Haiti, where they can poison their victims and cause their victims to become slave-like with no muscle control, no rational thought of their own. There was once a case of a man in Haiti thought dead, pronounced dead. They found him 18 years later working in a sugar field. Biological weapons. We know in Iraq that they had all kinds of biological weapons. In fact, a lot of the Iraq War syndrome is thought to have been a result of the biological weapons that were discovered there. And what could happen if these got in the hands of the wrong person? Who knows? So what do you need to survive? We've examined some possibilities, and we now realize that this could actually happen. What do you need? Well, it might surprise you. The most important thing you need to survive the zombie apocalypse. You can't live 4 days without water. You need one of these. This is a water filtration. It's self-contained. You fill the bottle with water, and you can carry it around, and you drink it through a straw. Take it right out of the river. Something like this would help you survive the initial onslaught of the zombies. Food. You need to think about food, perhaps a camp stove or having rations. Of course, we can pillage and forage for our food as well. You need to be prepared with clothing. If you're in a cold climate, you need to have warm clothing. In a warm climate, you need to have some cooler clothing. You need to be having some shelter for the immediate, maybe a tent or a hammock where you can be up high. You need to think about weapons. What kind of weapons are you going to use in the zombie apocalypse? Well, our minds immediately go to the gun. And I'm not going to lie, the gun's a great weapon. It would be very effective for killing zombies. But it has some drawbacks. First, it needs ammunition. And there's going to be a lot more zombies than you have bullets. Second, it makes lots of noise, which just attracts more zombies. Worse yet, possibly other people with a need for your weapons. Bows and crossbows, those are good weapons of choice as well, except that they're silent, so they can kill quietly. But there's the bow retrieval or the arrow retrieval that you need to be constantly aware of. Perhaps one of my favorite is the zombie knife. You gotta have a good zombie knife. This one right here is great. You can carry it on your hip, no problem. And you can't have too many. Maybe you should have one on each hip. You never know, they can be coming from both directions. Some of you might not like your zombie battle in such close quarters, in which case something like a machete, keep them at bay. I don't like them that close either, but sometimes you get overrun. And you find yourself on the ground, you need to reach for whatever you got. And you keep one in your boot just in case, because brother, you don't want to be caught dead without it. Simple weapons. We got knives, we got guns, we got bow and arrow, but we all have a tool shed. In that tool shed, everybody's got to have one of these, because America was built with these. A hammer could be used for both ends. Great for dispatching zombies. All kinds of tools in that tool shed that are useful in the zombie apocalypse. Now we need to think about how we're going to get away. We need to think about vehicles. I recommend a simple car, a truck. A good 4x4 truck would probably be the first best option because there's a lot of them. They're easy to get. They're easy to repair. A good car would be a second good option. Possibly a motorcycle if you're traveling alone. If you don't have a vehicle, walking, of course, staying off the beaten path, but an option to walking, maybe a bicycle. Get you there a little bit quicker. One thing that you need to remember, do not, no matter how great of an idea it sounds like at the time, don't get in a bus or an RV or a semi-truck. Those things break down, and the last thing you need when that thing breaks down is 40 people in that thing getting eaten by zombies. That's just a nightmare you want to avoid. Last thing on survival before I discuss where to go. This is so important, teamwork. You see, this is how man got elevated to the top of the food chain. You see, there aren't woolly mammoths anymore, and there aren't saber-toothed tigers anymore because they were lone fighters. Man got together and said, hey, you're good at building things, you build things. Hey, you're good at cooking things, you cook things. Hey, you're good at killing things, you kill things. We need to form teams, and you need to start now. Don't wait until the apocalypse. You need to start interviewing people now for your zombie apocalypse assault team. Finally, where do you go? This is a great question. Cornell University actually did some research on how the spread of the zombie apocalypse would affect America. And what they found is that the Dakotas, Wyoming, and Montana would be the safest regions. They would be the last impacted. And of course, the coasts would be the first impacted. If you can't get to those places, then that might be where everyone's trying to get to. It would be a difficult thing to do. If you can't get to one of the Dakotas, you might want to consider just a cold region in the winter. It would certainly slow the zombies down. They would have a hard time moving through the snow. Possibly a high mountainous region like right here in beautiful East Tennessee. Pick a ridgeline where zombies would have a hard time climbing up and where you could watch from like 1 or 2 potential entrances into your camp, keeping people at post just in case, of course armed. You could consider an open area, like a house in the middle of a farm field. Now this would offer you a strategic advantage in the sense that you would be able to see any oncoming zombies and immediately take aggressive action against them. Of course, the drawback is that there's no concealment whatsoever. So you can see them, but they can also see you. Confined areas, they offer, in a wooded area, might offer a concealment, but battling a horde of zombies in the forest is far more difficult than battling them in the open. So I hope that you take these words to heart and don't just turn off The Walking Dead tonight and go to bed thinking that this is all a fairy tale. I leave you with 3 last thoughts. First, aim for the head. Second, don't try to reason with zombies. That lady that looks like your mommy, she's not your mommy anymore. Third, if you've got bitten, game over. Thank you.